This is Andy Peroff, Boxing Social in association with Betfred. And for the first time in a while, I'm delighted to be joined by Joe Goossen. Joe, how are you doing?
Oh, tremendous. Thank you. Thank you. It was a heck of a weigh-in right there. A lot of excitement and a few surprises.
There was indeed a couple of fighters missing weight there in Luis Neri and Seha. That's the one, yeah. Was you surprised at all?
I'm really surprised about Seha because, you know, well, I mean, it's for the world title, and you're 4 pounds over. It's almost unbelievable. That can't just be an oversight. You know, that's negligent. You know, to be that much over for a world title fight. So that's a shame because Seha has the ability to make this a great fight against Figueroa. So.
Obviously, we are here for the main event on Saturday night. Wilder-Ortiz 2, the rematch. What are your thoughts on it, Joe?
Well, number one, I think the big difference is Ortiz right now. He looks tremendous. He's in great shape. You could tell this camp was much different than the first camp. His body looked different. His weight was good. And he got sparring. And from what I understand from his camp, he did little to no sparring at all for the first fight, and a few other mishaps that happened, you know, that I won't get into, but it seemed like they had a perfect camp, and I know what they mean by that. When you have a perfect camp, it means everything, you know. Without it, you're always going to get a glitch here or a glitch there, as long as there's nothing too big that knocks you off your mark. But this, from what I hear, it was a seamless camp. And he's going to need to have a seamless camp against somebody like Deontay Wilder, because Wilder just looks incredible. He already owns a win over Ortiz. It's 2 years later. Ortiz is 2 years older. Wilder already put a big crack in the China. So, you know, that's something that has a lasting effect, no matter what type of shape you get in. So he's got that advantage. It should be a very interesting fight because Ortiz is a tremendous counterpuncher.
So how do you kind of see the fight playing out when both of them in the middle of a ring?
How do I see them?
How do you see the fight playing out? How do you see it from a tactical standpoint? How do you see it playing?
Well, you know, I don't think either guy is going to rush into anything here because they're both too big of punchers to, you know, rush and make a mistake. I think it'll probably unfold just like the first fight did, with, you know, both guys feeling each other out a little bit, and then slowly but surely they'll close the they'll close the gap, and I think the fight will, you know, start probably around the third, fourth round. But the first couple rounds, I think they're going to feel each other out, and, you know, that's to be expected. It's going to be a tactical fight.
Moving away from this card, I just want to quickly get your opinion before I let you go. Ruiz-Joshua 2 out in Saudi Arabia, just a matter of a couple of weeks away. How do you see that rematch playing out?
Well, I see Joshua probably, you know, tightening his game up big time. And I think, like I say, I use the term, he's got to go Lennox Lewis on Andy Ruiz. And what I mean by that is just use that height and reach, use that athleticism. If I'm his coach, this is what I'm thinking. Keep him on the end of that jab, on the end of your punches all night. If you hurt him, don't go in for the kill. Just let him get back up and start the process over again. You know, rinse, wash, and repeat. And I think on the other hand, Andy Ruiz, you know, he already put a crack in the China on Joshua, so he kind of owns him in that regard. So I think he's got to kind of pick up where he left off. He's got to be careful not to run into anything solid like he did in the first fight. And if he does that and puts on good pressure, he's got to put on steady, maybe even quicker pressure than last time. It was a little plodding. I think he's got to have a little bit better head movement, faster feet, because I have a feeling Joshua's going to probably box a lot. So if you want to close that gap, you can't just, you know, slowly walk to a guy. You got to put on fast feet and fast pressure. And I think that's what Andy Ruiz has to do. And if he does that and gets in close, that's where he's going to do his damage. If he doesn't get in close and close the gap, it could be a long night. But that's the strategy I would have for either guy there.
Who are you picking to win?
Well, I don't know if I'm really picking anyone to win. I haven't picked anyone to win. I would just say that Andy Ruiz has the advantage going in. So I don't know if he's the favorite on the books, but in terms of, the fans and people in the know, I think a lot of people are saying Andy Ruiz can repeat that first victory, but I don't think Joshua is going to make it that easy for him.
Provided Deontay Wilder's successful on Saturday night, he's obviously got the Wilder Fury 2 rematch lined up. What fight do you think's bigger for the heavyweight division, Wilder Fury 2 or Ruiz-Joshua 2?
You're asking me
which fight's bigger for the heavyweight division, Wilder Fury 2
right.
or Ruiz-Joshua 2?
Yeah. Well, listen, you saw the response that Wilder Fury got was huge. The Ruiz Joshua fight, it's in Saudi Arabia. It's a little far removed from the boxing, fans per se. I'm sure they're going to have great fans out there. But I think in the States or in the UK, boy, Wilder Fury 2 is huge right now. And then whoever wins that one, the winner of Ruiz and Joshua, boy, they meet the winner of Fury and Wilder. That's going to be the toughest ticket of the decade.
You also had a brief little stint working in England with Amir Khan. That's obviously you've separated and parted ways now. What was behind the decision for yourself and Amir to go separate ways? Well,
Amir was with his trainer for many years, and I was there basically as a replacement, and I knew that, and I knew that it might be a temporary thing, and it was not because there was any bad blood or anything like that. I really respect Amir and his family in particular. They're great people. I was treated very well in the UK, but he just reunited with his trainer, and that's the way it is. And that was no love lost there at all. I mean, it was just he got back with Virgil, and he was with Virgil for like 6-7 years. So, it was understandable. And Virgil, thank God, I'm glad Virgil got better and he was able to retrain Amir again. And I'm happy for everybody. Look, guys like Virgil, myself, and a lot of other trainers, we're never going to be out of work, hopefully. I thank God for that. But, we're always going to get guys coming and going, and it's all good. I got no hard feelings against anybody. But the 2 fights that I had with Amir, I'll never forget. They were really a great time. He's a good man, and I loved his family. And the people in the UK treated me really well. And if there's one thing I miss is not going back there again for another fight, because I really enjoyed going there.
My final question, Joe, just fill us in on yourself. Yeah. What have you got going on with your fighters, your stable of fighters?
Yeah, last thing is that, I've got Sergey Lipinets. He's the #1 welterweight in the world, in the IBF, to Errol Spence's title. And then I got Tuksud Nimbayar, who's the #1 featherweight in the world. He's #1 to the Gary Russell in the WBO. And then my third fighter is Chris Arreola, who had that great fight with Adam Kovnatsky, the #1 heavyweight in the world, who was really probably the toughest guy waiting in the wings out there. And Chris, I thought fought a tremendous fight against that. I think he surprised a lot of people, including Adam. And so, we're going to be getting back in the gym pretty soon. He had a pretty serious hand injury. That's just healed up now. So I got those 3 guys. Between the 3 of them, that's plenty of work for me at my age. And I'm looking to get back after this show, back into the gym and get to work with the boys.
Well, Joe, I know I've kept you for twice as long as you'd have liked to have stayed, but I appreciate it. It's great to catch up with you as well. So thank you for your time, and thanks for speaking to myself and Boxing Central.
No, believe me, it was a pleasure. And if they weren't pulling me away right now, I'd spend as much time as you'd like.
Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome so much. Have a good trip back after the fight.